The read more on show less feature is commonly used in websites to manage large blocks of text. By default, only a portion of text is visible, and users can click a read more link to see the full content. Once expanded, a show less link allows the text to be collapsed again. Today we will learn how to implement this useful feature and understand the split and slice string functions, which we will use to get it done. The HTML will be simple. Initially, I have linked a style.css file and included the main.js JavaScript file. The defer attribute in the script tag ensures that JavaScript won't run into the DOM, Documents Object Model, has been fully loaded. The body of the page will serve as the main container for our two items. Each item will have a div with a class, item media, that contains an image and a paragraph of text below it. In CSS, we have a basic reset of margins and paddings, while also setting the box size and properties of border box. This prevents the border and padding from affecting the width and the height of an element, along with some very basic styling just to make things look decent. Before we dive into the implementation details of the feature, let's take a moment to understand two essential JavaScript string functions, split and slice. These functions will be fundamental to our approach. The split method is used to divide a string into an array of substrings based on a specified separator. This separator can be any character, including white spaces, or a regular expression. Here is an example. We have a code, and we want to get an array of two values. The first is the code, and the second is its author. Let's declare a code info variable to test with, and separate this code using the dot character as a separator. As you can see, in the first array entry, we have the code, and in the second, we have the author. Let's use a regular expression and separate the quotes by white spaces. To do this, we need to remove the double quotes and use two forward slashes to declare our regular expression. Inside the slashes, we write our regular expression meta character, which represents white spaces. I wanted to show you a simple use case of regular expression in the split function, but you can use much more complex patterns in other use cases. In our example, we can simply use white space as a separator. Another thing about the split function is that it takes two arguments. The first, as I have demonstrated, is the separator, and the second is an optional argument called the limiter, which is a value used to limit the number of elements returned in the array. Let's say we only want to return a part of the code. To do that, we need to count how many white spaces we need to encounter before the return. And you want this part, if you truly love nature. So we need to stop at the fifth white space. What about the slice function? Well, the slice function in JavaScript extracts a section of an array or string and returns it as a new array or substring. It uses zero-based indexing. The first parameter specifies the start index, and the second optional parameter specifies the end index. For example, to get a portion of the code, first split the string into an array of words using the split function with a white space character as a separator. Then use a slice from 0 to 5 to extract the first 5 words from the array. Note that to include the word at index 4, the end index should be 5 because slice extracts up to, but not including the end index. And if only one parameter is specified, slice returns all elements or characters from the start index to the end of the array or string. Now let's start by building our function. First, we will set an event listener on the document to ensure it has fully loaded. Next, we will select all the paragraphs on the page where we intend to implement the read more functionality. Let's log them to the console. This is the first paragraph and this is the second. Great. Now let's create our read more function. It will take two arguments, the text and the limiter. The limiter will determine the maximum length of text that we allow to be displayed. Let's use the split function to create an array of words from the text, using white space as the separator. This means that each word in the text becomes an element in the words array. The variable primary text is declared to hold the first part of the text up to the specified limiter. We will achieve this using the slice function to extract the first 20 words from the words array. Let's assume it's 20 for now. When we log into the console, we will observe only the first 20 words from the array. We will then use the join function in JavaScript to convert this extracted array of words back into a cohesive string. Unlike split, which is break text apart, join seamlessly merges it together, using also a separator. Fantastic. Now let's get the text that exceeded our specified limiter. That should not be visible until the user clicks a read more link. And how are we gonna do that? Exactly, by using the slice method again, but starting from the 20th word to the end of the array this time. These words are also joined back into a string. Now we need to check if there is any remaining text, the extra text, because sometimes the text will be shorter than 20 words, our limiter. In such cases, we should not show the read more. If there is extra text, we will return the primary text followed by a hidden paragraph containing the rest of the remaining text. You need to create a class in CSS, call it hidden, and set the display property to none. We will also add a read more span to trigger the function. If there is no remaining text, it simply returns the primary text. Let's use this return output to override the text in our selected text.inner HTML. We need to create a function to trigger the read more event once it's clicked. We will select all the read more spans from the page and add an event listener to each one of them. When it's clicked, let's toggle the hidden class on our extra text, the hidden paragraph. To select this extra text, we will use the previous element sibling property in the DOM. The previous element sibling property gets the element directly before the specified one within the same parent. In this case, it's the paragraph that contains our extra text. Initially, it will be hidden, but when we click the read more, we will toggle its visibility each time. Fantastic. We just need one more thing. When read more is clicked, which means is active, we should change its text to say show less. We will do this by toggling the isActive class. If the span has this class, set the text to show less to collapse the text. Otherwise, show read more. Let's add the three dots before our initial read more text too, and the final touch is to call our read the rest function. Remember, the limit is up to your preferences. You can decide how much of the primary text you want to initially make visible. In our example, we set it to 20. And there you go. We zwak it in this video. Until next time, keep learning.